not everything that's growing needs to be seen. Some of the strongest trees take root in silence before they ever break the soil. Good morning/afternoon/evening, everyone. Not everything that's growing needs to be seen. Some of the strongest trees take root in silence before they ever break the soil. And just like those trees, some of the most powerful people are being built, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. We live in a loud world. A world where success is posted, progress is shared, and every move is monitored. But the truth is, the real building, the kind that lasts, happens in quiet rooms, in hidden places, and often behind closed doors. Build yourself quietly. When you're in the shadows, you're not losing, you're learning, you're healing, you're growing, you're preparing. The silence isn't empty, it's sacred, it's strategic. Let them wonder. Let them ask, let them underestimate. Your journey is not a public event, it's a private evolution. The next version of you is being crafted in stillness. You don't need their applause when heaven is giving you instructions. Don't despise the hidden seasons. That silence, that isolation, that obscurity, that's where purpose is refined. That's where confidence is born. Not the loud kind that needs approval, but the quiet kind that knows who you are and who you're becoming. You're not behind. You're being built. You're not overlooked. You're being prepared. The world may not see it, but heaven does. And when the time is right, what was once hidden will be undeniable. So take your time. Protect your process. Trust the silence. Build yourself quietly. Because when it's finally your time to rise, you won't have to say a word. Your life will speak for itself. Private pain is not just something we endure. It is something that shapes us, sharpens us, and sets us apart. When we experience brokenness in the private places of our lives, those hidden battles no one else sees, those late night tears, the silent struggles, the moments where it feels like the weight of the world is pressing on our chest, we are not being destroyed. We are being developed. There is a kind of power that doesn't come from applause or affirmation. It doesn't come from titles, platforms, or visibility. It comes from surviving what tried to break you when no one else was watching. It comes from facing fear, failure, and disappointment and still choosing to rise. It's born in the silence of suffering, in the echo of loneliness, in the quiet conversations with God when you feel like giving up but somehow keep going. See, when pain is public, sympathy often follows. People reach out, check in, and stand by. But private pain, that's a different kind of storm. That's when you have to encourage yourself. That's when you have to wipe your own tears and pray your own way through. And in that place where no one claps and no one sees that asterisk is where true power is forged. What looks like isolation is actually incubation. The fire you go through privately builds a resilience that can't be faked. It teaches you to hear God's voice more clearly, to rely on His strength more deeply, and to trust the process more fully. And when you finally emerge, when the light hits the places that were once filled with darkness, the power that comes out of you won't just be emotional, it will be spiritual. It will be unshakable, it will be real. So don't resent your private pain. Don't rush through it. Don't try to perform your way out of it. Let it do the work. Let it refine you, because the same pain that feels like a prison today will one day be the platform God uses to speak through you. And when you stand there whole, healed, and powerful, it will be evident that your strength wasn't born on the stage. It was birthed in the shadows. Private pain produces public power, not just so others can see your strength, but so they can see His glory through your story. Elevation requires isolation. It's a truth that many find hard to accept, especially in a world that celebrates constant connection, visibility, and instant results. But the reality is, before any mountain is climbed, before any summit is reached, there's often a season of stepping back, stepping away, and stepping into a quiet place where growth can happen unseen. Isolation is not punishment or rejection, it's preparation. It's the place where distractions fall away and your focus sharpens. When you're isolated, you're removed from the noise of opinions, comparisons, and the pressures of others' expectations. In that space, you can hear your own heart clearly. You can listen to the still, small voice that guides your purpose. You can cultivate patience, discipline, and faith. Think about how the greatest leaders, creators, and change makers didn't rise with an audience cheering them on every step of the way. Many spent seasons alone, working in the background, refining their skills, wrestling with doubts, and building a foundation strong enough to support the weight of their calling. Isolation allows you to reflect deeply on who you are, what you want, and where you're headed. It gives you the chance to confront your fears without distraction, to heal wounds that have been ignored, and to cultivate a resilience that only comes from surviving in silence. This is where your character is built, where your vision is clarified, and where your strength is renewed. While it's easy to feel forgotten or stalled during these isolated seasons, remember that elevation requires this kind of solitude. The higher you're meant to go, the more time you'll need to spend away from the crowd, away from the noise, to prepare for what lies ahead. So instead of fighting isolation, embrace it. See it as a sacred time, a divine investment in your future. Trust that every moment spent alone, every trial endured in silence, and every lesson learned without applause is setting you up for an elevation that will surpass your wildest dreams. When you come out of this season, you won't just be ready. You'll be unstoppable, and the isolation you once dreaded will become the very reason you soar. Becoming doesn't always broadcast. In fact, some of the most profound transformations happen quietly, without fanfare or public announcements. We live in an age where sharing every moment, every milestone, and every feeling seems almost necessary to prove that progress is happening. But true becoming, real, lasting change, is often private. It unfolds beneath the surface, away from the eyes of the world, in places where no one can judge or interrupt the work that's happening inside. When you are in the process of becoming, it means you are growing beyond who you were yesterday. That growth requires patience, vulnerability, and often a lot of hard work that doesn't come with immediate validation. It means confronting your flaws, learning from your failures, and sometimes stepping back when the world expects you to step forward. It means you might have to walk through seasons where you don't feel ready, where the progress feels slow or invisible, but becoming is not about performing for an audience. It's about developing integrity, strength, and purpose. It's about building a foundation that can withstand storms rather than seeking quick approval or applause. When you broadcast every step, you risk exposing your work before it's complete, which can invite criticism, distraction, or pressure that hinders your growth. There is power in privacy. When no one is watching, you can experiment, fail, and learn without fear. You can ask tough questions, wrestle with doubt, and heal wounds that need time and tenderness. Becoming is a sacred process that deserves protection because it is in this quiet, unseen space that your true self takes shape. So don't rush to announce your progress or seek validation for every small win. Instead, honor the quiet work you're doing. Trust that your becoming is happening, even if it's not yet visible to others. When the time comes to step into the light, your growth will be undeniable, not because you shouted it from the rooftops, but because it has been deeply rooted and authentically earned. Remember, becoming is a journey, not a performance. It's a transformation that happens in silence before it shines in the spotlight. And when you finally reveal the person you've become, it will be powerful precisely because it was built quietly, thoughtfully, and with intention. Protect what you're building. This is one of the most important, yet often overlooked truths on the journey to growth and success. When you are in the midst of creating something, whether it's a dream, a vision, a new mindset, or a better version of yourself, you have to be intentional about guarding it fiercely. What you're building is precious, delicate, and valuable, and it deserves your full attention and care. In a world that moves fast and encourages us to share everything openly, there's a powerful wisdom in keeping some things close to your chest. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your process. Not everyone should be privy to your plans, your struggles, or your breakthroughs before you're ready. When you share too soon, you risk exposing your progress to critics, naysayers, or even those who don't have your best interests at heart. Protecting what you're building means setting boundaries. It means being selective about who you let into your inner circle. The people who encourage you, uplift you, and believe in your vision without trying to steal your energy or derail your focus. It means guarding your time and your emotional energy so you don't get drained by distractions or negativity. Every great builder knows that the work requires discipline, not just in action, but in protection. Sometimes protection means saying no to opportunities or relationships that don't align with your growth. Sometimes it means shutting out the noise of doubt, comparison, and unrealistic expectations. You have to be willing to create a safe space around your dream, a sanctuary where it can grow without interference. Protecting what you're building also means being patient. Growth isn't always fast, and it isn't always obvious. When you rush to reveal what you're working on before it's ready, you risk undoing the very foundation you've laid. Protect your progress by giving it the time it needs to mature, to strengthen, and to become unstoppable. Remember, your journey is sacred. What you're building is not just for today, it's for a future that only you can see right now. Protect it with the same passion you put into building it. Shield it from negativity, from doubt, and from those who don't understand the value of the process. Because when you protect what you're building, you ensure that when it's time to reveal it, it will stand firm, shining bright and unshakable. So be intentional, be vigilant, guard your dream like your life depends on it, because it just might. The greatest legacies, the most powerful transformations, and the most enduring successes all began with someone protecting their vision quietly, patiently, and fiercely before they ever shared it with the world. You are not behind, you're being built. This is a truth that can bring peace to the restless soul who feels the weight of waiting, the pressure of comparison, and the frustration of feeling stuck. So often, we look at the world around us and see others seemingly moving forward, achieving milestones, reaching goals, and living out their dreams. And we mistakenly believe that if we aren't exactly where they are, we have somehow fallen behind. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Life is not a race with a universal timeline. Each person's journey is unique, and growth happens in its own season. What you may perceive as delay or stagnation is often the most important phase of your transformation. When you feel like you're standing still, know that you're actually being built, refined, strengthened, and prepared for what lies ahead. Being built means that the foundation beneath you is being fortified. It means the parts of you that need healing are being mended. It means that lessons, skills, and wisdom are being layered quietly beneath the surface. This process takes time, and it often involves challenges that test your patience and faith. But these challenges are not setbacks. They are setups for your breakthrough. When you compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, it's easy to feel inadequate or discouraged. But remember, the building process isn't always glamorous or visible. Sometimes it's lonely, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it feels like nothing is happening. Yet beneath the surface, your character is being shaped, your resilience is being built, and your purpose is being clarified. You are being built for something greater than what you've already experienced. The delay you face is not a denial of your dreams. It's a divine design to ensure you are ready when the opportunity comes. The waiting season is not wasted time, it's active preparation. So instead of rushing or comparing, embrace the process. Trust that every struggle, every quiet moment, every step back, and every pause is purposeful. You are growing into your fullest potential, and when the time is right, you will step into your calling with strength, confidence, and clarity that only comes from being thoroughly built. You are not behind. You're exactly where you need to be, being built, being prepared, and being made ready for the greatness that awaits you. Hold on to this truth and let it fuel your faith and your forward movement. even when the path seems unclear. Your story is still unfolding, and the best is yet to come. Let God whisper while the world waits. In a world that often demands loud declarations, instant results, and constant visibility, it can be difficult to appreciate the power of quiet, subtle guidance. But sometimes, the most profound direction comes not in shouts or grand signs, but in soft whispers, those gentle nudges of the Spirit that speak to your heart when everything around you is still. When the world is watching and expecting you to perform, to prove yourself, to show your progress, God is often working in the silence. He uses that quiet time to teach you lessons that loud moments can't. He reveals truths in the stillness that you might miss in the noise, and he prepares you for what's next in ways that require patience and trust. Letting God whisper means being willing to slow down, to listen deeply, and to lean into faith even when you don't have all the answers. It means trusting that his timing is perfect, even when the world's clock is ticking loudly in your ears. It means believing that the small, unseen moments matter just as much, if not more, than the big, visible ones. While the world waits impatiently for you to make your move, for you to shine, for you to succeed, God is quietly equipping you. He is strengthening your spirit, renewing your mind, and aligning your purpose with his plan. This whisper is a sacred invitation to rest in him, to find peace in the pause, and to grow in a way that lasts. The world may not understand this process. It may urge you to rush, to shout louder, or to seek validation through external achievements. But when you let God whisper, you find a deeper source of strength, one that doesn't depend on applause or recognition. You discover a confidence rooted in divine purpose, a peace that surpasses circumstances, and a clarity that guides your every step. So embrace the quiet, trust the whisper, let God prepare you in the silence while the world waits for your moment to arrive. When you finally step into the light, it won't be because you forced the timing or shouted the loudest. It will be because you listened, you learned, and you followed the gentle voice that led you all along. In conclusion, building yourself quietly is one of the most powerful and transformative journeys you can take. It requires patience, faith, and the wisdom to protect your process from the noise and distractions of the world. Remember that private pain can fuel public power, and that sometimes elevation calls for intentional isolation. Becoming doesn't always need an audience, and what you're creating deserves your protection. You are not behind. You are being built, shaped, and prepared for a purpose far greater than you can see right now. And through it all, let God's whisper guide you while the world waits. Trust the process, embrace the silence, and know that when you are ready, your life will speak volumes without you ever having to say a word.